The year was 1985. United States had the most powerful machines on planet Earth. Their supercomputers. India desperately wanted to buy one. Why? Because India wanted to help its poor farmers to predict when it would rain. So India officially requested one from USA, but America refused. Instead, they offered to sell a much slower computer with half the processing power, that too with insulting restrictions. India felt humiliated. India felt angry. This is a story of how India gathered a team of brilliant scientists, where some even worked without any salary, to show the world that they too can build a supercomputer. And not just any supercomputer. They built one that was more powerful than multi-million-dollar systems from US, Japan, Germany and Russia. This is the story of PARAM 8000, India's first supercomputer. India today is still an agricultural economy. Even today, 46.1% of Indians earn their income from agriculture, more than manufacturing or services sector. But back in 1980s, this share was more than 75%. Every 3 out of 4 Indians were farmers. And for those hundreds of millions of people, their entire livelihood and the fate of Indian economy by extension was dependent on a single, highly unpredictable force of nature. That is, the Indian monsoons. Now, if the rains were delayed by even 10 days, the seeds would dry up in the hard soil and the entire harvest would fail. But at the same time, if it rained too much, all the seeds and plants would again be destroyed. Now, when 75% of your country is dependent on agriculture, you need to know exactly when, where and how much it would rain. The truth is, predicting weather is super hard. You need to track deep ocean temperatures, atmospheric pressure and global wind speeds all at the exact same time. To simulate all of this means doing billions of calculations every second. And you need a computer for that, obviously. Actually, that is not enough. India needed a supercomputer. So Rajiv Gandhi, the then Prime Minister, takes a flight to Washington DC in USA. You see, America created its first supercomputer in 1960. Over the years, America created more and more advanced supercomputers. Their latest supercomputer was called Cray XMP. Their Cray XMP 24 model was a state-of-the-art 400 megaflops computer. This means 400 million calculations per second. By contrast, a modern iPhone today can do 3 trillion calculations per second. So of course, slow by today's standards, but of its time, this was the fastest computer in the entire world. And India wanted this. But USA said no. Instead, USA offered inferior Cray XMP 14 with half the speed at 200 megaflops per second for $20 million, around 25 crore rupees at the time. Why did USA said no? For that, let me tell you what was happening at the time. In 1971, Indo-Pakistan conflict happened and USA was supporting Pakistan. In May of 1974, deep in the deserts of Rajasthan, India conducted a secret nuclear test called Smiling Buddha. And then USA banned India from the uranium market and stopped helping us with the nuclear reactor technology. All of this while we were closer to Soviet Union/Russia all of the time. So the Reagan administration of USA feared that the latest supercomputer in the hands of India would be a danger to USA. USA actually thought that we were stockpiling weapon-grade uraniums, which, to be honest, we were. Most importantly, they thought Soviet Union would get hands on their latest supercomputer because we were close and obviously they didn't want that. So they refused to sell their most powerful supercomputer and they only agreed to sell the inferior one. Unfortunately, we agreed. We had to agree. India swallowed its pride and it agreed. Because even though this was not the latest, the greatest, we still needed it for our farmers, for our scientists, for our economy. Now, to rub insult to our injury, there was one more condition attached to it. US demanded continuous physical monitoring of the machine by American personnel on Indian soil to guarantee that it was only used for weather forecasting, as India was saying, and not for making nuclear devices as USA suspected. And India agreed again. India had to, While Rajiv Gandhi was flying back to New Delhi, he understood one thing for sure. To protect India's sovereignty, India desperately needed its own supercomputer. Back in India, Rajiv Gandhi started the process of searching computer scientists who have the talent and the capability both to realize the supercomputer dream for India. In 1988, he met Dr. Vijay Bhatkar. Now, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar was a genius computer scientist. He did his PhD from IIT Delhi. He even had the offer to do postdoc from Princeton University, but he gave that up to work for Electronics Commission for the Indian government. Dr. Vijay Bhatkar is also credited with the creation of India's first color TV. He also became vice president for TCS. Now, when Rajiv Gandhi asked Dr. Vijay Bhatkar about building a supercomputer, Dr. Bhatkar had only seen a picture of Cray supercomputer.
Rajiv Gandhi asked me a question, can we develop it? I said, I have not seen a supercomputer because US is not allowing that access. I seen a picture of supercomputer. So he said, how much time it would take? So I said, it could barely 3 years, we can develop the entire technology.
He guaranteed that India could design and build a supercomputer within just 36 months, that is 3 years. He was given 34 crores to build it. This amount was symbolic actually, as this was the exact cost of Cray supercomputers that America refused to sell to India. In March 1988, the Center for Development of Advanced Computing, or CDAC, was established in Pune. But here, he faced his first problem. Dr. Bhatkar was not able to recruit even a single person for the first 6 months. And this is not because people did not want to join. They desperately wanted to join. But because of bureaucracy and red tape, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar was not even given the official permission to recruit other people, other scientists. This is so bizarre. In fact, 20 computer scientists from IITs and ISC still worked with him without any salary for the first 6 months. Slowly, they expanded the team to 60 scientists, all recruited from brilliant institutes across the country. Now, these people, they were mostly young, most of them in their 20s, and talented obviously. And Dr. Bhatkar ran this as a modern present-day startup with all the chaos rather than a government office. Now, managing a high-stakes project with a massive team under a strict deadline is pure chaos. Honestly, if Dr. Bhatkar were building the PARAM 8000 today, his team would absolutely be using something like Odoo. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that helps you integrate and automate your business workflow. And with Odoo projects, you can collaborate and coordinate effortlessly. You can assign tasks, set clear milestones for your project, track deadlines, and see everything clearly on a simple dashboard. It has advanced views like Kanban view that shows each task as a sticky note with key details on it, along with different stages to track progress of a task. Then it has Gantt chart to ensure task dependencies are clearly laid out in a visual manner, ensuring you always have a bird's eye view on where your project stands. Inside each task, you can set subtasks, deadlines, schedule to-dos, book calls, meetings and emails, drop notes, log meeting notes, everything in a single place. Basically, total control of your project. Odoo is more than a project management software. It's an entire suite to help you run your business smoothly. And you can get the whole thing for just 580 rupees per month per user. This means full unrestricted access to every Odoo app. Check out this QR code or link in the description to start using Odoo projects today. Dr. Vijay Bhatkar now faced his second problem. An even bigger problem. The American supercomputer, Cray XMP, used a custom highly advanced processor. It was not something you can just go and buy in an open market. America also had processor fabrication facilities in the 1980s, right? So America could design the processor and fabricate it all in-house. For India, even if we designed our own processor, we had no way of actually fabricating it. So Dr. Bhatkar and his team adopted a radically different approach. Instead of buying a very powerful customized processor, which was almost impossible to get to India, he bought much less powerful processors from United Kingdom. Now, these processors were called the InMOS 800. Since they were less powerful, neither UK nor US was actually concerned that India was buying them. But this processor had special dedicated circuits to communicate with other InMOS 800 processors. So Dr. Bhatkar and his team combined 256 of these processors to achieve 1 gigaflops of computing power. They also had to write this special piece of low-level software called kernel, which sits between the operating system and the actual physical hardware. This kernel was called PARAS, P-A-R-A-S, and it ensured all 256 processors are able to function smoothly without crashing. The computer coding language was called OCUM, which allowed the task to split up into multiple smaller tasks and then combine the result at the end to produce the final result. The software could also control dynamically whether the processors should be connected like this, depending on what mathematical problem that you are exactly trying to solve. So India did it. Dr. Vijay Bhatkar delivered a supercomputer to India in record time of just 3 years. He called it PARAM 8000. This was the first time a developing country had a supercomputer of their own. But Dr. Bhatkar's problems were not over yet. The entire world refused to believe that our supercomputer was actually powerful. On the outside, our supercomputer looked much more like a high-end server and not exactly like a supercomputer that America had. Now, to silence critics once for all and to establish Indian supercomputing powers at the global stage, Dr. Bhatkar took a very risky decision to publicly put the PARAM 8000 in a competition with all the supercomputers of the world at the prestigious 1990 Zurich Supercomputing Show in Switzerland. The Indian supercomputer machine went head-to-head with multi-million-dollar systems from US, Japan, Germany and Russia. The result shocked everyone except Dr. Bhatkar. The Indian supercomputer secured a second place overall. It defeated every country, including 2 supercomputers from America itself, and it got defeated only by a single American machine. Next day, Wall Street Journal published this article. The headline read, "Denied supercomputer, angry India does it." In 1991, when India showcased its PARAM 8000 to the world, India didn't just make a very powerful machine. The cost of the supercomputer was shocking at an entirely different level altogether. Remember, US wanted $20 million for the powerful Cray supercomputer that it would not sell. The PARAM 8000 costed just $350,000. Over 14 global buyers immediately lined up. They were drawn by the disruptive price tag. India even exported this machine to the Institute for Computer-Aided Design in Moscow in Russia, which obviously America hated. America had to drastically slash their global pricings just to survive the competition with India. And India kept on improving PARAM supercomputer with new and new versions. Till date, we ended up selling 52 PARAM supercomputers around the world. The impact of the invention of supercomputers wasn't just about predicting weather systems or even simulating impact of nuclear devices for that matter. Yes, this supercomputer was crucial in India becoming a nuclear-armed nation in 1998 when we secretly detonated a nuclear device in the Pokhran deserts of Rajasthan, but its impact was much more than that. It permanently altered India's trajectory beyond the wildest imaginations even of the people at that time. Supercomputers introduced computational fluid dynamics. When India was building the Tejas fighter jet, these supercomputers were used to simulate thousands of wing shapes and how would they behave in flight, instead of physically building them, saving us billions of dollars. When a ballistic missile like Agni 5 re-enters the Earth's atmosphere from space, it travels at 24 times the speed of sound. At that speed, the friction of the air turns into plasma, generating thousands of degrees of heat. Now you cannot physically test this easily on Earth. India's Defense Research Wing, which is DRDO, uses supercomputer clusters to simulate the exact thickness and material needed for the missile's heat shield so it doesn't melt. Supercomputers can also calculate the complex trajectory algorithms that allow the missiles to hit a target 5,000 kilometers away with extreme accuracy. India is currently designing advanced medium combat aircraft. Now this aircraft will be invisible to the enemy's radars. India's supercomputers, they run millions of equations to tell engineers how to flight it perfectly so that the fighter plane doesn't reflect back any radar signals back to the enemy. Then it is used by researchers to calculate ozone layer depletion, creating new medicines, design protein structures. ONGC, the public sector company, it uses supercomputers to map out oil exploration activities. India today has 37 supercomputers with a total capacity of 40 petaflops. This is 40 followed by 18 zeros or 40 quadrillion calculations per second. But then this invention of supercomputers actually led to a more long-term but a very important effect. What happens when lots of highly educated engineers, computer scientists and software developers come together at one place? This is called the economic cluster theory. When such a cluster happens and it is backed by a strong institution like CDAC, it attracts more talent, supplementary businesses and venture capital. Seeing this, Indian government established the Software Technology Parks of India or STPI in Pune. Today that STPI exports 1.83 lakh crores in IT and related exports. Over time, CDAC trained a total of 5,73,000 individuals and their alumni went on to become hugely influential figures. For example, Rajat Moona became the director of IIT Gandhinagar. Another alumni, Dr. Rajkumar, he is currently the director of cloud computing at University of Melbourne. He is actually the #1 author in the world in the area of distributed and parallel computing. Then we have Geeta Manjunath, who is the CEO of a deep tech health startup based in Bangalore. And then there are countless other founders and businesses that started and are contributing to not just India but the whole world. See, the idea that I want to convey is that even with just one institution like Center for Development of Advanced Computing or CDAC, we saw incredible spillover effects or the second order effects. Imagine if this were the norm, not the exception. See, the talent pool in India is extraordinary. Give people the right environment, budget and facilities and they can do remarkable things. When India was denied access to a supercomputer, it was forced to look inwards and that constraint sparked innovation. Think about the scientists who worked for months without salary while developing the PARAM 8000. That level of commitment is rare and expectation of that level of commitment is unfair. That is why it is very important to give that kind of opportunity to everyone. And then the magic happens. It won't just benefit you in the short term, but the spillover effects can change the trajectory of the country for generations to come. Hope you like this video. If you did, do share it. Do check out other videos on this channel. Let's talk in the next video. Bye.